We're on Fansided, and they have a 7-round draft. And I'm looking at the Raiders' number 2 selection. Oakland Raiders, Dallas Goedert, South Dakota State, tight end. Now, many Raiders fans are gonna say, tight end, we got plenty. We don't need it anymore. I don't know about that. As they point out, as I've been pointing out, Jared Cook, he's got a certain salary cap, problem, if you will. He's got a certain thing about last year where he just disappeared at times. I don't know, that might have had to do a lot with the Raiders, how they were playing. The lack of, really a running game for a lot of the time. It wasn't the same as the year before. But mostly I'm looking at what they're looking at, the age and the salary cap. But let's meet Dallas. This is probably going to play a commercial. So we'll be advertising for Arby's. I haven't ate all day long, so this is going to be real good. As I said, and I'm vegetarian.
Euro. Arby's, we have the meats.
Dallas Goedert going to hang out with us. Did not have a chance to work out today. I know dealing with some injury there. Dallas, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Not bad. The combine, of course, is not just running around and doing drills, but there's medicals, there's interviews, there's measurements and everything. So why don't we start with those interviews and how many teams you had a chance, if you know the count, to talk to and what those conversations were like?
Yeah, I had 20 formal interviews with teams. I think that went really well. It was really enjoyable seeing some of the head coaches, some of the general managers, meeting with a lot of the tight end coaches is really cool.
Coming in because you didn't really have an opportunity to do the physical part of it, when will you have an opportunity to work? Do you think you'll be fully healthy by the time you're able to put together a pro day?
Yeah, March 30th is our pro day, and I'm planning on doing everything there, the 40, the position work, things like that. I kind of want to do some of the jumps and the short agilities to get that stuff out of the way today, but I wasn't able to.
You got hands like, I said this on your draft profile, hands like bear paws. I mean, some of the catches you made your junior year, of course, just lit the internet on fire. And then, the ability to go up and make the one-hand catch. How big are your hands?
They measured at 10 inches whenever we did that, but I think they missed the measurement. They were like 10 and a quarter at the Senior Bowl, and I've been stretching them, so I think the measurement was off. But they're pretty big. I feel like I have really strong hands, so that definitely helps.
And I also like the fact that you're a 3-level worker. In this day and age where you kind of have to put guys in columns to some extent, you are somebody at your school at South Dakota State where you went first, second, and all the way 3rd level. Talk about the ability to stretch the field deep and what that can mean for your offensive team, the team who drafts you.
Yeah, definitely. Whoever drafts me is going to get a 3-down tight end. And, the ability to stretch a defense, take the top off the defense, get the safeties out of there, opens up just everything. If they don't have to respect my speed and that, it's a lot harder to run your underneath route. So by being able to do all 3 depths, that definitely plays to my advantage.
When you say a full-service tight end, we want to hear your 3-down tight end. Full-service tight end, you like getting on the end of that line and knocking somebody around?
It's not the best part about football. I like catching the ball better, but I'm definitely willing and able to do that, so I'm going to be doing that at the next level as well.
Thinking about the next level, when you have the opportunity to look at NFL tight ends, who are some of the guys that you pattern your game after?
Probably Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz. This year at South Dakota State, we watched a lot of the Kansas City Chiefs offense, different ways they got Travis Kelce the ball, and I did the same thing. I think I have the same playmaking abilities that he has, and then Zach Ertz does a lot of things that I think I do well too, using his leverage, finding the soft spots and zones and things like that.
Is he your favorite tight end in the league?
Yeah, both of those two are.
Both those two? All right, man. Well, we look forward to March 30th. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes here with us. Hopefully the combine experience went great for you. Sounds like it did with over 20 interviews with all those teams. Certainly anybody can use a tight end. We appreciate it, Dallas.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Okay, there you go. Travis Kelce. He just happens to be perhaps the best receiver in the AFC West. If you just keep it to the AFC West, you win your division. That is your goal. AFC West has many wide receivers over the years, but really Kelce, if you look at the way he's killed the Raiders, just narrow it down to that. How he's killed the Raiders. Forget about any other games. And he has killed the Raiders. We got rid of Marquette King, so we don't have to worry about any interactions with him anymore. But Travis Kelce is a pretty good guy to model your game after, because he just kills us. And imagine if we had a weapon like him. And here's the proof. This is a video of him playing, and this is why I like this idea of selecting this guy in the second round. I know the Raiders have defensive problems, but this guy is an offensive problem. Yes, once again, the Arby's vegetarian gyro.
Euro. Arby's, we have the meats.
Other than the queer music, that was very Travis Kelce-ish, whatever. That was just like Kelce. See that one-handed grab? Jared Cook couldn't make that catch. I think this guy might be taller. I don't know. Maybe not taller, 6'5". But he obviously is very athletic. Let's look at another one of these videos. I have not watched any of them. Oh, here we go again. At least they're getting shorter.
Euro. Arby's, we have the meats.
Here are 5 things to know about South Dakota State tight end Dallas Goedert. He was given his first name by his father, who was a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. While he started out as a fan of the Cowboys, Goedert later switched his allegiances to the Green Bay Packers. He participated in more than a dozen sports growing up, including unicycling, which he learned from his grandfather. He has been known to perform in parades. Goedert received only one scholarship offer coming out of high school. He walked on at South Dakota State, and now some consider him the top tight end prospect in the 2018 draft. He earned widespread notoriety in 2016 with a one-handed touchdown catch against Drake that showed off his huge hands and balance. Goedert's 92 catches in 2016 set a South Dakota State record, and he's the only tight end in school history to record a 200-yard receiving game. And those are 5 things to know about South Dakota State tight end Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert. Well, he can play with Jordy Nelson. He was such a Green Bay Packer fan. Let's try another one.
Reintroducing.
It's never going to end.
Beef and turkey. Gyro? No, gyro? Gyro? Mediterranean tacos. 2 for $6. Arby's, we have the meats.
All right, Buck. Well, this next guest, I got a chance to watch him actually this morning. I heard a lot about him. I know a lot of scouting buddies have been rolling through South Dakota State to check out a very talented tight end. A lot of folks believe is the best tight end in the country in college football right now, and that's Dallas Goedert. He joins us right now. Dallas, first of all, thank you so much for joining us here. We got to start out with at the very beginning. How in the world did you end up at South Dakota State?
Yeah, this question has actually been asked quite a bit. Being from a small school in South Dakota, I didn't really have a lot of offers. My only offer was actually to like a D2 school in Aberdeen, and Coach Stig, the head coach here, came to my high school one time, and he talked to me a little bit, came and watched me play a basketball game, and we didn't really have a lot of communication. He offered me a walk-on spot, So I texted him one day. I woke up. I prayed about it quite a bit. Woke up, texted him, and said I'd like to walk on there. And he said he was excited for the next 5 years. So that's kind of how my whole recruiting process to South Dakota went.
Now, you end up at tight end, but I'm looking at your resume in high school. Quarterback, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, kicker, punter, punt returner.
Is that
you
it?
Played everything except tight end. How did you become a tight end with the Jackrabbits?
Yeah, for real. In high school, in a small town, not a ton of athletes, so they just kind of put me wherever I could get the ball the easiest. So, but when I got here, my size was kind of the reason I got put at tight end. Being 6'5", with the frame that I had, it was really easy just to fill the role of a tight end.
Well, you played a lot of different positions. You also played a bunch of different sports, which I love to see, and we love to see as scouts and evaluators. We want to see guys diversify a little bit, develop that different athletic profile. And I've seen the basketball stuff. That's pretty normal for football players, especially tight ends. And you see some track. Okay, I get it. When I looked in your stuff, and I'm seeing that you come from a family that knows how to ride unicycles, this is maybe my all-time favorite nugget that I've had on a draft prospect. How in the world did you become a family of, I guess I call them unicyclists? Is that a word?
Yeah, I believe that's right. Well, there was one day I was looking through like the JCPenney catalog for Christmas, what I wanted, and I saw a unicycle. I thought that'd be really cool to try. So I told my mom I wanted a unicycle, and she's like, yeah, actually, your grandpa has a bunch of them sitting in his shop. So we went out there and got one, and my mom, and my sisters used to ride it all the time. So we brought it, and she just popped right on and started riding it. And I'm like, man, I want to be able to do that. So I just practiced and figured out how to ride it. And my family's been riding in parades every 4th of July ever since I was probably about 8 years old. So
I gotta ask you, because this is the question I'm sure is in a lot of people's mind when you see people on a unicycle. How the heck do you get on that thing?
It's actually pretty simply just put your feet on there and just kind of jump on and start pedaling.
You better not miss a step.
Your pedal to the lean, I guess.
I'd lose some teeth if I tried to jump on that thing.
I mean, that's unbelievable. So you're fascinated by his ability to be a unicyclist. I'm still fascinated by your basketball prowess because we've seen so many tight ends come into the league that have basketball backgrounds that have had success. When you think about your basketball career and the things that you were able to learn playing basketball, what from basketball translates to the football field that allows you to have success at tight end?
I mean, really, basketball and football correlate quite a bit together. I mean, a lot of jump balls that are thrown to me are kind of like going up for a rebound. You just have to high point it and get it before anybody else can. And I mean, there's just so many different things. Like if you have a man guarding you to go by him, it's just kind of like basketball. You have to cross up a defender to get by him. So just obviously you don't have the ball in your hand when you're doing it, but there's just so many different things. Like back cuts to the basket and everything. It's just kind of finding the open spot. Just a lot of things in basketball correlate a lot to football that have helped me in my game.
Well, I had a chance to go through the computer program we have here at the NFL Network. It's really cool. You can sort targets, so I can look at every ball that's been thrown to you over the last couple years, and you have some highlight reel grabs now, some unbelievable. We just saw one of them a second ago, the one-handed catch. In that moment, the moment that you grab a ball with one hand in the back of the end zone like that, are you immediately knowledgeable of the fact that, okay, this thing's probably going to hit the internet and probably going to go a little someplace?
Yeah, I guess that you're talking about against Drake. It was like Sports top 5 play, I think, out of the top 10, and it was really, really cool. I know I caught it. I knew it was a pretty quick catch, but I didn't realize how it looked until it was on the video board, and everybody kind of watching it, and the whole place was silent. They were about ready to kick. Their staff was watching it. All the fans were silent. Once the replay got over, it started cheering, and it was really cool seeing it. Once I saw it for the first time on the replay, I knew it was a really, really good catch. It was kind of all over everything.
Yeah, viral. Yeah, you make a catch like that, it's going to go viral. Question.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going viral. And I think one of the things that I'm always intrigued, when you look at games on Sundays and Monday nights, and when you look at the NFL game, is there a tight end that you've had in your game after?
Yeah, a lot of things that we get a lot of plays from the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs. I've watched a bit of Travis Kelce. And I think I quite a bit of it like him. They're just like different things that he does. The way he moves, run after the catch, and just a lot of things. I think my game resembles his quite a bit.
Bucky, who did you have for comp?
I had Goedert from the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought you had an assistant, your ability to play inside, outside, in a tight position, slot, to create a bunch of plays in the pass game. I thought you reminded me of the Eagles tight end.
Well, I'm going to give you mine real quick, and then I'll get your take on it. I think the most underrated tight end in the NFL for the last 2 years is Cameron Brate, who's down there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's been outstanding for Jameis Winston. And I compare you to him because you have the ability to work in the seam and to be able to make test catches. You have a field working in the middle of the field, and as a former quarterback, having somebody that can go into their area and get a job done is something that you love. And I just love the way that you play in that portion of the field. You take a lot of pride. You have a lot of contact catches, which is what we want to see from a tight end.
Yeah, obviously, anytime the ball is thrown to me, I think my quarterback coaches, they really believe that I'm going to make the play. So obviously, when you have that much faith in you, just anytime the ball is thrown to you, I'm planning on catching it. Whether there's a little bit of contact or not, being a bigger body that plays to your advantage. So that's just kind of my thing. Anytime the ball is thrown to me, I need to make the catch. If I can touch it, I can catch it.
You know, one of the things that we do here, Dallas, is we have a game called the 3 H's. What is your biggest highlight, your biggest hardship, and who is your greatest hero? So if we had to go back and ask, what is the biggest highlight that you've had throughout your career, what would you say it is?
I'd probably go back to the NDSU game last year up there when we beat them for the first time in like 8 meetings or whatever. We were able to get back. It was a really close game. One of the last plays of the game. So just that whole game, the team atmosphere in the locker room after the bus ride home, it was just a ton of fun getting back with Brookings and everybody just high on their horses, just really excited. It was just a really cool experience.
All right, how about your biggest hardship you had to overcome in life? Could be football related, could be off the field.
Growing up in South Dakota has been a pretty easy life for me. I've been blessed with great family and everything. But when I lost my grandma, it was my true freshman year here. She was really close to me. I spent a lot of time with her in the summers, and just going through that without my parents or my sisters here, just kind of having to do that on my own is probably one of the harder things I went through.
It sounds like your grandma was very, very close to you. But if I had to ask you, which was your hero, who would you reply?
Man, that's tough. Maybe my grandpa Goedert. He's just a great guy. He's a great family man. He's raised, I think he had 6 kids, and they all live really close. Just a really great family man. He's just kind of done everything right. He's been nominated as like the North Dakota Person of the Year. So just kind of the way he lives his life is just kind of how I'd like to model how I could live my life.
Oh, that's outstanding. Gordy is a great name, by the way. You need to hand that name down when we have children. Let's keep that name alive. Last thing for me as we wrap up here, Dallas, we're going to see you a bunch. We'll probably see you at the Senior Bowl. We'll see you at the Combine, and we'll hopefully have you in here in the studio for Path to the Draft as we get towards the draft. I just have one request. If you look over your shoulder, you see that basketball. There's a South Dakota State basketball there. It looks like it's got the blue and gold going on. We would like one of those for Move the Sticks. We're going to put that in the background. It's a good-looking basketball. It's a multicolored ball, and we'd like to get our hands on that thing.
Sounds good. I could probably do that for you.
All right, that'll work. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Jordy. Now that guy is a mature draftee. Many of them are not. He is perfect for the Raiders. I mean, maybe too perfect. I mean, they might have to trade up for him if they want him. He might be a first rounder. With all the problems in the NFL last year, immaturity problems that have been going on for quite some time, these players get paid so much, even with the rookies' salary cap. A guy like him is going to be coveted. This guy is, he is going to be a star in this league. This does not look like some sort of chump. I think Derek Carr and him would get along like no other, on and off the field. Small town, small state, big state, but small. But he's saying all the right things. He's looking like the right things. Just imagine an offense with him. Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, Jordy Nelson. Just imagine that. Just imagine what defenses, how they're going to have to prepare for this guy going over the middle. I don't know if they put his 40 time here. His draft projection is 1 to 2. I say draft him if he's there, and if he's not, you're going to have to consider trading up. I think sometimes when you talk about need, what the Raiders' needs are, they've been fulfilling many of the needs in free agency, where when they enter the draft, they can start looking at the best player on the board. They are selecting in the top 10 of each round. And in the second round, there, I think it's the 9th position. So this would be the perfect pick. I don't know if he's connected with the Raiders in any way. It's quite possible. Something like 20 teams out of 32 interviewed him. But Gruden would like this guy, I think. Now, I'm not saying Jared Cook is so bad, but he's getting up there in age. And who else do the Raiders have for a a threat that's, a receiving threat from the tight end position? They just got rid of Walford, or Waldo, I used to call him, because he was always missing. I don't know if it says much about his blocking. Has the size and technique to work in as an inline blocker. Strikes with good pad level. Says his blocking could be inconsistent. But I think he's got the character. Someone who goes on a unicycle. I'm with that guy. I would be missing all my front teeth. And I'm a cyclist. And I tend to be a balanced cyclist. I like 2 hands on the handlebars. I don't normally do too many tricky moves like Marshawn Lynch. Although I've had my close calls. England's a crazy place to ride a bike, especially in front of buses. But this is a guy that you can't forget about. Derek Carr. You can't forget about your star. He is your star. I know he had a bad year last year, but you can't forget about him. You just got him Jordy Nelson. That was awesome. This guy is like Jordy Nelson in many ways. All of what has been said right here by other people, not me. I've not analyzed all his videos, all his games. He likes to get open. He knows how to get open, and he knows how to jump, and he's got all these basketball background skills, and we know how that all works. He's got the huge hands. I'm telling you, that is crucial in cold weather games. The Raiders have not got to the point where they're going to be going 15-1. And they're not going to have to worry too much about cold weather games in the playoffs. Or they're getting the Patriots earlier in the year, or getting Pittsburgh earlier in the year, and getting all that out of the way. They're going to have to play some cold weather games. The schedule makers always base the whole schedule of the entire league around making the Raiders travel the greatest distances. Always. They always have the worst. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers hardly traveled at all last year. And the Raiders had to travel everywhere. And especially they line it up for cold weather games in Kansas City or Denver. And a lot of the Raider players really aren't cut out for that. They draft a lot of players and sign a lot of players and recruit a lot of players that are just from the area, from California. And it's very warm in California, or just moderately warm, depending on what part of it. And these players sometimes suffer, from the weather. Start with Tim Brown. This guy's from South Dakota. It's cold there. He's got huge hands. His hands are bigger than mine. Mine are like, I haven't measured them in a while. I think they're 9 3/4. He's got big hands, and I'm telling you, big hands count. I remember when I was a kid, still growing. It's like around the age of 11 and 12, all of a sudden you start to hit that growth spurt. And all of a sudden, you're playing football with the other neighborhood kids, and they throw you the pass. And you catch it. And then you throw it back to them, and they're like, whoa. All of a sudden, you can grip the football. You're not like Jeff George. I don't think he ever progressed past, holding the end of the football, although he definitely progressed. All of a sudden, you're gripping that football, and you're throwing a tight spiral at them. And they can't believe it. It's because your hands grew. And this guy, Travis Kelce-ish, sometimes the best defense is a great offense. That's how the Patriots win a lot. That's how many teams won a lot. The Greatest Show on Turf comes to mind. Great offense. They surely had great defenders. But every team does. Just imagine over and over this guy in a lineup with with Amari Cooper and Jordy Nelson on either side, and this guy on the line blocking for Lynch and also going out and being Derek Carr's best friend. I would trade up for this guy. You might have to trade picks from next year, but you do it. You do it. This guy has great character, it seems. And that's what you want on your team. You don't want to bring in people like Marcellus Bennett or whatever his name is, and other sorts of distractions. That's why Marquette King is gone. All the information that's coming out and leaking now is Gruden couldn't stand his personality. He wasn't serious enough. I like to joke like everyone else, but then again, I'm not trying to be a football player and doing something very serious. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of people and careers involved. So you can't act like that. And this guy just seems to be perfect. I'm not the one who set up this mock draft, but I agree with this second round pick. Dallas Goedert. He should be a Raider. He could be the ghost to the post.